because you don't need it that way anymore, and I think that's sort of what happened all along this road. The part that's still standing literally is still holding the earth up. If you move it, you're going to have an erosion problem. You'd have to do something else. It's kind of like a seawall in Florida. You know, you have to have it there to keep it from eroding into the water. Well, here it would erode down into the road itself. So,
was Miss Stevens primarily helping? These would be Confederates this close to the wall. Wouldn't it Confederates?
Probably, yeah. Unless she, I mean, knowing her, unless she wandered out here,
about how she was.
it would have been more Confederates.
Do you know if she ever served any Union soldiers?
I don't know, because I don't have anything that tells me for sure who, other than she just helped to take care of the wounded. I would guess because you're this close to the wall,
right?
Probably it's more the Confederates who are coming in front of the wall, which isn't such a great idea, but you know, it's close enough that they can maybe come and get some assistance here. So.
Why didn't the bridges arrive on time?
The bridges, have you ever heard of red tape?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a new problem. They were ordered. General Halleck, who was in charge of all Union forces at the time, I think just didn't push the paperwork fast enough, and it just didn't happen quickly enough. Also, the weather wasn't great, so you had to move them from Quia Creek through areas that were going to be very muddy and squishy and all those wonderful things at that time of the year. And so moving the wagons through was extremely hard to do. So some of it was just the conditions that were such to get them where they needed to be quickly. They eventually got him here. It's just 10 days later made it difficult. Burnside did try to convince Lincoln that this maybe wasn't a good idea anymore. But remember, Lincoln is tired of hesitation and people waiting to do things. He hired Burnside, or put Burnside into his position to replace McClellan, who was always accused of moving too slowly. So here's Burnside between a rock and a hard place. I'm not necessarily a total Burnside fan, so don't get that impression, but I can understand why some of the things that happened to Burnside put him in a very bad situation. Just because I get tired of bashing him all the time, so sometimes it'd be nice. Don't get me started on Joseph Hooker at Chancellorsville, though. I don't have any sympathy for him at all, but that's a whole other issue, so whole other tour. Let's be Union soldiers. Come on down this way.
Okay, so we just want to, somebody else probably got it, and it's going to be a long video after. Okay, I'm going to attempt something that probably is not all that doable. Women rights are real long. So here we got summer, fall day. Just look at some of that. In Virginia, on December 11th,
Not that window. Maybe this one where you can see some bullet holes. Oh, there we go. See the bullet holes in the walls?
This way, one line right behind another line, marching forward across this open plain, trying to get to the stone wall. As they're marching forward, they're about maybe 4,000 men, 5,000 men at a time coming forward. These are brigade-size attacks. Sometimes when I have lots of little kids, I will have them line up and demonstrate. Today with such a big group, I won't go through all that, but they're shoulder to shoulder, and often being in the first line makes them uncomfortable. And I'll ask them if they like being in the second line better, and usually they say, yes, it's much better. And then I explain that if you're in the front line and you're marching forward and you trip and fall down and skin your knee and you can't fight anymore because you got hurt, I don't shoot little kids, okay? As they're marching forward, then the second line would have to come up and take the place of whoever's in the first line. The reason for that is, again, as your line is moving forward and more people are falling out of the line, you want to consolidate as much as you can so that you're not feeling like you're the only one getting to this position. There's security in numbers, if that makes sense. So there will be 18 different brigade size attacks to try to take this position. The lay of the land is such that getting divisions and even corps size attacks are going to be very difficult. Every time they try to put more men in, they tend to have to just go behind those that are in front of them because of the sloping of the ground and swampy ground and Hazel Run over here, the canal ditch going through and around over here, the river over here, and all of those different kinds of things that play into this. Also, artillery up here on Murray Heights are going to be able to shoot down the line if you get at the wrong angle from them. In other words, instead of shooting at you, they can shoot down your line, coming at either angle depending on where you are on this field. So as these Union troops are marching forward, if you look down the street here, you'll see a brick house on the left. Everybody see the brick house I'm talking about? All right, just past that, there is a stop sign which you cannot see today because the trees are in the way. In the winter, it's really obvious. This car will probably go to where the stop sign is, stop and turn left or right. That's usually what happens. Just past where the stop sign is, where this car is getting to right about now, you'll notice that the tires of cars on the street seem to be out of sight. They're lower than our viewpoint. And that's because there's that drop in the ground.